United States, the unorganized yet completely authorized militia of this great nation, and the constitutional protectors of this great nation and of the Constitution, are issuing this warning. Restore the Republic. Take down and do away with all laws which are unconstitutional. Understand that by turning this into a police state, you will provoke an eventual war. We do not want this. We want to live in peace. We want for our children to live free. But we cannot abide the chains of slavery that is being foisted upon us without our consent. This country has turned into something that is worse than what was fought against in the First Revolutionary War. Let this be a warning to all of you. We are armed and we are ready to defend our Constitution. We are armed and we are ready to stand with our fellow militiamen, our neighbors, every other armed man and woman in this country, to fight against unconstitutional power grabs in this country. This warning goes out to all of you who hold the Constitution of the United States in contempt. We will not abide the slavery you are foisting on us at this time. Reverse the trend. Peacefully give us back our liberty, and you will live. Continue to steal from us our liberty and our freedom, and you will eventually meet the full strength of the United States militia. And I'm not talking the United States military as constituted right now, but I'm talking about the constitutional militia. Men and women like me who are heavily armed and well trained, ready to defend this country, ready to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Please, give us peace, give us liberty, or we will take it.
Terry Moran in Washington. This is Nightline, March 30th, 2010.
Good evening, I'm Terry Moran, and we begin tonight with the American militias, armed, constitutional, and increasingly active. There's been a sharp rise in militia activity recently, and over the past 72 hours, 9 members from one such group, Christian extremists calling themselves the Hutare. They were indicted and taken into custody by the FBI for allegedly plotting a violent anti-law enforcement attack. This incident has fueled the perception that the groups are sinister. But as Ryan Owens found out, many militia members say not only are they misunderstood, but they want to help.
They are not police officers.
Constant suppressive fire movement.
They're not active duty soldiers. But what these weekend warriors are doing in the woods near the Canadian border is perfectly legal. You're watching a Saturday training session of the 21st Battalion of North Idaho's Lightfoot Militia. A heavily armed force, we're told numbers more than 100. Although just about a dozen showed up on the Saturday we did. Along with an awful lot of shooting, they learned survival skills.
Insert the spike.
First aid lessons from one of their members, who's also a firefighter.
It's called the external jugular.
Their leader is Major Jeff Stankevich, an unemployed welder with 0 military experience.
The government should be afraid of its people so that it doesn't do stuff it's not supposed to do. And it would make them think twice.
Randall Klein is one of the newest members of the militia. He too lost his job and joined about a month ago.
What is it that you're worried about?
It's not just about Barack Obama, but certainly he's gotten me worried, and not just him, Nancy Pelosi, Harry Reid, all the rest. I mean, obviously, to me, they want to become dictators of the United States.
Mr. Adams, Mr. Johnson.
Hi, how you guys doing? Senators? One of the things I wanted to bring up, first let me tell you who I am. Name's James Johnson, co-founder of a group called E Pluribus Unum, and one of the leaders and spokesperson for the Ohio Unorganized Militia. I've spoken to many groups around Ohio and in other states, and I've also helped start some groups. Now, what I wanted to touch on was what Mr. Thompson said. I think he focused on a key point, which was why these groups are forming. Why is it growing like it is? And that's some of the topics that need to be addressed, and I think maybe you can talk to some people on the inside like you have here to answer those questions. To put it to you bluntly, some of the legislation that's coming out of Washington, some of the executive actions that are taking place, ladies and gentlemen, these things started a revolution 200 years ago and got this country started. And the people are seeing this. The national news media and the actions of this government is some of the best recruitment we could have. We don't have to say much. All you have to do is talk to the average person out there to tell you, how do you feel about your government? And the people you look at here, we're the calm ones. We're the ones that calm people down. Now, I'm speaking here as a representative for my state and other groups that I know of. The animosity that I see out there between the citizens, all of them, and the government is frightening. What they did was, after listening to all these abuses and government atrocities that you're going to hear here today, and they saw that they were going to no avail, they decided to see what they could do to become part of the solution. They looked into the law, and under Title 10 U.S.C. 311 saw a phenomenon known as the unorganized militia that consists of all people, even the people taking these pictures right here, everyone. And they began to form themselves in units for their own self-defense and their self-preservation. Now, the way we stand now, and it's good that we're getting these views aired out, because 200 years ago, the British didn't get the hint until they saw dead redcoats out there. But this time, maybe we can get this out in the open and have things resolved. Because I feel, and it's concerning to me, and I'm being sincerely honest, that with the increasing polarization between the tax-paying public out here and what goes on, not only in here, but certain state governments, that the only thing standing between some of the current legislation being contemplated and armed conflict is time. It's one of the reasons I got in this movement, to help prevent that. Now, you can see from the last 2 years of sales from the firearms producers in this country, this nation is probably one of the most heavily armed forces on earth. And I have heard more and more people say, if one of these black-suited, armor-wearing, state-sponsored terrorists come kicking down my door, I'm going to blow somebody away. They don't call themselves militia. They don't even call themselves patriots. They call themselves American citizens who are getting tired of confiscatory tax rates, increasingly legislation, increasingly heavy regulations, which is, they believe, are leading them down a path to involuntary servitude. And one of the slogans that's been going around, especially in Ohio, is what I've been telling people, for those who think that this is just primarily an angry white male movement, is that if our ancestors would have been armed, they would not have been slaves. That's why people are getting armed. Not so much with firepower. That's not the thing that makes it dangerous. What makes it dangerous is that they're being armed with knowledge. What you're going to see is a growing number of citizens, and you're seeing that now, that's why we're here, move away from the authority that is here around in the Beltway and begin to create their own constitutional authority. You're going to begin to see this in the resurgence of the common law courts. You're going to begin to see this, and I'm going to summarize here, in the formation of the militias. That's what came first to defend ourselves. But you're also going to see this on the legislative end. You're going to see your own candidates in our own elections, and hopefully that we can become a system which will attract others into a more constitutional-based system. Thank you very much.
To be a revolutionary is to love your life enough to change it, to choose struggle over exile, to risk everything, with only the glimmering hope of a new world to win.
Are the president's kids more important than yours? Then why is he skeptical about putting armed security in our schools when his kids are protected by armed guards at their school? Mr. Obama demands the wealthy pay their fair share of taxes, but he's just another elitist hypocrite when it comes to a fair share of security. Protection for their kids and gun-free zones for ours.